Good day. It's very nice day outside. It's storm bird, apparently that's what it's called, swooping through UK this weekend. So let's get straight to the point. So looking after yourself. There are lots of videos about self-love and by looking after yourself, but I want to talk in a different perspective of mine about looking after myself. Especially if you are a woman and a mom, we tend to overdo things in our everyday lives. So yes, as a mom, as a woman as well, or even as a man, it's if you have busy life, it's very, very, very difficult to look after yourself sometimes, and I think we just lose ourselves and in our everyday lives, and we simply don't take care of ourselves. But I wanted to share with you a few examples of mine and habits that I practice now, and obviously when I was young, it's going to be from perspective of a person who was people pleaser. I would hardly say no to my friends. I would always want to do something nice for them and give my hand and try to help, especially when I was younger and then during the life as well. And I would open my heart to people and try my best. But most of the cases, it simply ended up that when I wasn't needed, people move on. People also come and go from your life. People will also use you and then they will disappear as well. And there are people as well who have hidden agendas that, they expect something back as well. And I'm not saying that just giving and not receiving anything back, it's a bad thing. But if you do something for someone, you should do from your pure heart, not expecting anything back, I would say. And unfortunately, we live in the world where it doesn't work like that. And I think the world has changed. People have changed. We used to have communities and people you could rely on, and people were looking after each other. Friendships were easier to make, I would say, and maybe because sometimes, we had the same struggles. I also know that people, when you're on the same level with some people and you go through the struggles together, people will stick with you. But when life changes and people get better jobs, better lives, they moved away. I would say money-wise, people do change as well. And the last thing, it's we probably all are aware of this already. When you are on top, when you have money, you have lots of people around you, and when you are down and you're going through some difficult times in your life, most people will simply disappear because people simply don't care. And that's why I think it's so important to look after yourself first and most, and also look after your husband, your wife, if they are, kind, they supportive, your parents, your close by family, even if you have really, really, really good friends, do look after them as well. But first and most, we should really look after ourselves, and without feeling actually guilty. Even sometimes just saying no without any explanation. So obviously getting older, it's older. I'm not that old, but I have learned through my mistakes, and I'm at the point in my life where I decided that I am putting myself first and most, and God as well, of course, because God has been there for me. God is always there for me, and I need God in my life, and I always pray and ask, and I talk about this a lot on this channel as well. But I think sometimes when you get stopped, I would say many times in your life, some people learn from their mistakes, some people don't. But I had, and I am not saying that people were bad in a way, but people are selfish, and sometimes you meet people that you think they have the same heart as yours, but they simply don't. And I think since 2020 things really changed a lot. People change, like I said before. Obviously, we have social media now, so people stay on social media more, and life is busy because everything is more expensive now, and there's so many hours you can work. There is so much money you can earn, and people are also probably trying their own ways to survive or make their life better. But I think in all this, we simply forget to take care of ourselves. And it doesn't have to be major. I remember working 6 days a week, running around all day long when I was younger, and that was okay because I was younger. You have more energy, and then let's be honest. I don't have. I'm still very active, but I don't have the same energy I had when I was in my 20s, even in my 30s. So I think we have to also adjust with our bodies, with our changing bodies. And um, I think also sometimes it comes in our life that, we been running and chasing, and we never really took care of ourselves. And sometimes, people get ill and they have to stop suddenly. And then they start realizing that there is actually more to life, and they face themselves as well, see through that they always put someone else first and most, but not themselves. So they never even, took any time off work or time for themselves, even if it's just, drinking a cup of tea and sitting for 5-10 minutes during your house chores. That's what I do, for example, now as well. I don't run rounds, I just sit down, I have a break, and then I can carry on again. So it is very easy to neglect ourselves, and I know there will be people who will say and have always, and we always have as well excuses. I think we always make excuses. I'm very busy, I'm this and that. But how many people actually scroll on social media for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours? Instead of scrolling on social media, you could do something for yourself, like having a nice bath, nice cup of tea, maybe watch a nice, funny movie, cook, meal from scratch at home. This is the way you can, take care of yourself, not just physically, but also mentally. So I, for example, don't watch the news anymore. I used to watch news very long time ago. I would just put the news on whilst I would be getting ready to go to work. And it was always doom and gloom. And I think now it's even worse. It's very doom. It's nothing positive there. So that's why I don't watch the news. I rarely read anything. Doesn't mean I am obviously ignorant of what's going on as well, but I don't want to be constantly feeding my mind with fear mongering and scary tactics, and drama, because if let's be honest, news sell because of the drama and all they feed us. That's why it sells. If they were talking about trees or flowers, nobody would be watching the news. It's simple. Even channels here on YouTube, There are channels that talk about other people. They talk about this, they talk about that, about celebrities, about this and that, and people get hooked on it because they love those kind of things. Yes, some people will argue that is because they want to know what's going on. Fair enough. But I think we simply sometimes overdo it and obsessed about everything, and that's not really good for our mental state. Because we start living in fear, we start worry about the future, and don't get me wrong, I sometimes have days when I do worry about the future, but that doesn't bring any good into my life. It doesn't bring any good, and stress can cause lots of illnesses, as well, sleepless nights, and then you can't even enjoy your life, um, because you constantly are feeding your mind with all those doom and gloom things. So what I do now in the mornings, I put a nice music on, whether it will be hymns or like classical music, just a nice calm music in the morning, and then we just get ready to leave the house. Another one, disconnecting from social media. So I do not have social media anymore. I got rid of Instagram. I briefly had TikTok, which I already made video about all this. And I never really liked TikTok. I had it briefly, and I don't find TikTok. I think the TikTok isn't the best platform. Watching people what they do in there, it's appealing to me. How people behave, consumerism, and all those things. And I'm not gonna go into details, but I really am not sure what's wrong with society at this point. The society that is on TikTok, and there are still some good videos for sure, and good people out there, but it's not something for me. Um, it's just too much drama as well on social media, and people like to argue with others without even knowing them about certain subjects, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's believing in this or believing in that, and wasting their time. So I stay away from the drama, and that's how I can look after myself, staying away from the drama as much as possible. Even when I had social media, I never argued with anyone, I never got into any conflicts, and it's just a waste of time and energy, because when people have their belief systems in here, you cannot persuade them to change their belief system. It's the same, for example, if you go to Mr. Doctor and Mr. Doctor tells you, Mr. Pepper, you have to stop smoking, because if you don't stop smoking, you're gonna get this, and that. And Mr. Pepper will just say, okay. But Mr. Pepper is not going to stop smoking because Pepper doesn't want to stop smoking. So it's the same with looking after yourself. If you do not look after yourself, you don't take the steps, no one else will. No one else will. That's the reality. Yes, there can be people who can give you advice and stuff on that, but it's up to you to look after yourself. And I, growing up, and I learned from my upbringing and from what I went through, I had to look after myself financially at the very, very young age, because no one else could. And I think it is a good thing. And looking after yourself as well is not relying on anyone. Yes, it's nice to have someone, it's nice to have friends, it's nice to have husband and wife. Lovely. It is really good. But things can change, things can happen, and people might not be there for you at some point. And then what? That's why we have to look after ourselves the best we can, and because no one else will. And taking care of your mental state as well, by not watching the news, staying away from drama, social media. Um, if you, yeah, I, for example, journal, so I can express my emotions, my feelings in my journal, and that helps me. But some people might not be. So I would say get a professional help. You know, if you're in UK, you can get the help through a GP to talk to someone. There's some online. I think you can call some. There are some organizations that you can also, talk to someone, because sometimes talking to friends or family isn't easy, and maybe you simply don't want to. So it is important to look after your mental health as well. If you can't cope, getting a professional help. So yes, I journal. If I feel overwhelmed or stressed as well, I go into nature wherever possible, because I always feel that loving, calming energy when I'm surrounded by the trees. There is something about nature, when you step into nature and you forget about everything. It just feels so nice, so calm, relaxing, listening to birds singing, watching the leaves, just walking around and listening to the sounds. It's so healing. It's so healing. So that's another thing I would take care of myself, my mental health, and will be nature. Next one is nutrition as well. Although our mental, we also are physical. Yes, our bodies change throughout our lifetime. Our bodies won't be the same when we were kids, when we were in our 20s. And I'm in my 40s now, early 40s. So of course my body is changing, but what's important now, I nourish my body and try my best to look after my body the best I can, so it hopefully serves me long enough, and if I reach certain age, I can, still function and, go out on my own with God's will. Um, so it's cooking at home as much as possible. First of all, it's cheaper. Second of all, you cook from scratch, you know what you're adding. Um, we do not go out to eat. If we do, there is only one place that we know the food is good, and it doesn't give my body any effects afterwards. Otherwise, I don't. And it doesn't have to. You don't have to be a master chef. It's just simple recipes, and just mashed potatoes with some chicken breasts or some chicken drumsticks, or beef steak, and a green salad. And I come from Poland, so we eat a lot of potatoes. We eat a lot of mashed potatoes. So in the winter, we live on potatoes, and they are very cheap. And you can make them mashed. You can put them in the oven. You can roast them. You can make chips at home. Like, you can do lots of things with them. Simple things. So people say like, "Oh, I don't know how to cook." Well, you have to start somewhere. And I know that ready meals are so cheap, but if you calculate buying just basic ingredients, they are even cheaper, and you can have food for 2 days. I take my food to work in the little box, so I can eat, so I don't have to go and buy anything outside, especially like sandwiches. They're very expensive, if you buy it from time to time, it's okay, but if you buy it every day, it's, yeah. So that's how I look after myself as well. Next thing is, I, for example, like to dance. I usually put my earplugs on and go to another room and put music from the 90s, my favorite songs. I got like a playlist, and I just dance. I dance like no one watches. And I don't have to be in the fancy clothes. I don't even have any more fancy clothes because I don't simply go out anymore. I don't care of going out. So that's another thing I will take care of myself. I would say that saying no as well to others without feeling guilty. It's a thing that you can take care of yourself. Sometimes, friends want to go out, or you would like, maybe they want to meet up, but sometimes maybe you don't feel like doing it. And it is okay. I'm a bit of an introvert, and also some days I don't feel to meet people or talk to people, and I don't want to. So it's okay to say no. We don't have to please everyone all the time. And if they are good friends, they will understand. If not, that means they shouldn't be in your life. And like I said, people come and go. We shouldn't get attached to people, anyways. But that's my personal opinion. Maybe because I had lots of experiences with people, and I simply learned that there is no point in that. And majority of time we spend time with ourselves. There was a nice quote, I think, loving yourself because you spend the most of the time with yourself, something like that. Another thing is to take care of yourself, enjoy your hobbies. Like, find a hobby. Is there something you like to do? You should start doing it. Even if it's 5-10 minutes to start with. But the more you're gonna do it, the more time you will find. Like I said, I don't have social media. I have time to read book. I have time to do other things. So I organize my time. As well better. And another thing is, I do like my own company. I like to spend time on my own, or with my family, because family is very important for me. I simply like my own company. I never get bored. I always have something to do, and I don't feel lonely. I spend a lot of time at home, helping my parents, and when they both worked. I also have a brother, but boys will be boys, and they will just go play with their friends all day long. And me as a girl, I would be mostly at home with my dogs, and just making use of being on my own. So I would always find something to do. So I never really felt lonely in so many ways, and I think that was great preparation for an adult life as well. Um, so everyone, we all have different perception of looking after yourself. It could be to go out with meeting your friends for a coffee, to go for a swim, to go for a walk, to go on a nice holidays, to have a nice bath, to read a book. There are so many things, but I think the main point of this video that I'm making is to simply start taking care of yourself, because no one else will if you don't. No one else is going to drag us and say, you do this and this. We have to, because it's important to look after your body. It's important to look after your mental state. As much as we can, obviously. If you have good body, you have hands, you can walk. I think you should really appreciate. We should really appreciate our bodies even more, and really take care of it, so we can live healthy life for as long as possible. If that will be the case, of course, the genes play roles as well. But if we just forgot to add, by looking after your body and yourself, alcohol. I've stopped drinking alcohol. I do not smoke. I do not drink any fizzy drinks. Junk food, it's a no as well. So I try to avoid many things, because they are not good for me. They're not good for my body. Why would I put those things in my body? I don't want it, and I feel much better. My body is thanking me for that. So that's all my little habits that I wanted to share in this video. Please feel free to share yours if you want to. And I hope I encourage you to maybe take some steps and look after yourself. My tea is actually getting cold. So thank you for watching. So God bless, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care.